Hey, what's up, Internet? Yeah, I think we're live. We're just waiting for the YouTube to wake up. The YouTube's always the slowest. The YouTube wakes up when it feels like it. It's like, I'm monopolizing this. I can do what I want. I don't care. I'm YouTube. I'll wake up when I feel like it. I'll demonetize you when I feel like it. That's how I roll. If you have a problem, I don't care. But we're live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. I have a guest today. We're a couple minutes late because I forgot to warn Joy that if she's using a phone, it kind of takes a minute. StreamYard is super awesome. I love StreamYard. Shout out to StreamYard, the platform I use. But they're still working on making it super user-friendly for phones. So it took us a few minutes, but we're here. Joy, what is up?
Hey, thank you so much for having me back.
No problem. I hope all is well in Iowa. We're going to be talking about that a good bit today. We're going to be covering what's going on out there in Iowa because you are in Iowa right now, working for, in case people didn't get the clue, Bernie Sanders. There's a sign behind you there. But you know what? We're going to get our news on first, if that's cool. We're going to get our news on, then we're going to hear directly from you and what's going on the campaign trail. And, you're supporting Bernie. I am too. But we're going to go through this endorsement right now, Joy. And it's so inspiring. I got to tell you, we might switch teams. We have to be open to this. I mean, this endorsement, the local media in Iowa is, trying to do their part along with the rest of the corporate media to make sure Bernie's not the nominee and get a load of this endorsement. I mean, it really is. It really is inspiring. Joy, can you see the screen, or am I just reading to you?
Yeah, I can see it.
You can? Okay, cool. So the Des Moines Register endorsed Elizabeth Warren, and here's the headline here, folks. Elizabeth Warren will push an unequal America in the right direction. Oh, I thought it just said to the right. I misread it. Sorry. So check this out. Here's the highlights here. Many of her ideas aren't radical. They are right. They're also Bernie Sanders' ideas, but that's okay. They're also watered-down versions of what Bernie Sanders proposed first. She must show that her vision will lift people up rather than divide them. She still needs to show that. Hasn't shown it yet. She cares about people. There's our bar. There's our bar for leader of the free world. People. Do you see them as ants, or do you give a shit about them? If you give a shit about them, we'll endorse you. And she will use her seemingly endless energy and passion to fight for them. Right. Like we've seen so far. Like that time she said, hey, Bernie Sanders was cheated. Nah, just kidding. I don't want to stand by that. Like that time she said, I'm for Medicare for all. No, not really. Like that time she said, yeah, it's wrong for Hunter Biden to get $50,000 a month for doing nothing. Actually, no, I'm not sure. I need to ask my campaign what I think about that. Yeah, that passion, she'll bring that to us. This is my favorite line. Joy, I mean, this is when we're going to switch teams. Look at this. The outstanding caliber of Democratic candidates makes it difficult to choose just one. That's the problem everyone's having, Joy. There's so many amazing candidates. How do you just pick one? So many good ones.
It's true. You really have to weigh your options.
I mean, wow. This is like the participation trophy of endorsements. This is just like everybody's a winner. Everyone's such a winner, but we think Liz is the biggest winner. But they're all winners. They're all winners.
This is fourth place, but a strong fourth place.
Yes. Well, here's the best part. Speaking of that guy, Pete Bull, each of the remaining candidates campaigning across Iowa ahead of the caucus will make a fine president. Everyone's a winner. The Des Moines Register, everyone gets a gold star. Each would be more inclusive and thoughtful than the current occupant of the White House. Each would treat truth as something that matters. What an amazing, we are facing climate collapse. We needed a revolution years ago. Wage inequality is at an all-time high, remnant of ancient Egypt. And they're just saying, we just need someone that they care about the truth and they're better than Trump. Here we go. This is my favorite part. Each would conduct foreign policy by coalition rather than by whim and tweet. Because clearly, they're all the same on foreign policy, right, Joy? One guy wants to end all the wars and talks about ending all the wars and investing that money back home. Another guy wants to send troops to Mexico. They're exactly the same.
And one guy voted against Trump's military budgets all 3 times.
Yes.
And other people voted multiple times, but I mean, same thing.
Same thing. Tomato, tomato. Some like the military budget, some don't, but they care about the truth, and they'll take that passion for us. Wow. Someone published this. Somebody wrote this and said, yes, I'm proud of this. This will be on the internet forever, and I'm glad for that. This is it's like society said there could not be an endorsement any more milquetoast than the New York Times. And then Des Moines Register was like, hold our beers. We can beat this. Yeah. We can do better. We can do better. All right, so where do they even talk about? All right, so the Des Moines Register editorial board, they did this as a group, Joy. This was a group effort. Endorses Elizabeth Warren in the 2020. All right. The senior U.S. Senator from Massachusetts is not the radical some perceive her to be. Who perceive? She's a radical. She's a radical, and Tom Steyer is a fine leftist. That's like,
it's not a radical idea.
Our Overton window is so far to the right. The camera to catch it in frame hasn't been developed yet. It's so ridiculous. Like the other kind. I mean, I always say, I'm just like, look, in most parts of the world, I would just be considered on the left. In the U.S., I'm considered watch list. Like, it's ridiculous how fringe right wing our Overton window is. She wants fair markets with rules and accountabilities. She wants a government that works for the people, not one corrupted by cash. That's why she's not going to take corporate money ever. Oh, wait. No, she's totally willing to. And she said that multiple times. This is, wow. You know, the only people reading this and taking it seriously are us who are reading it to make fun of it. Like that's, Warren doesn't measure the health of the economy by looking at the stock market or an unemployment rate that doesn't count the long-time jobless or chronically underemployed. Really? Well, guess what? She's not going to be able to pull that off in the debate. That's true. The way we look at the economy is absolute nonsense because we look at how the stock market's doing and we don't measure unemployment properly. But do you think Liz Warren, I'll ask you, Joy, do you think Liz Warren would be able to get that through in the debate against Donald Trump? Or do you think that she would just get the floor mopped with her?
I think that it would go horribly well if she would try to address that with Donald. We've seen she's already capitulated to him numerous times, so he does have that above her. Yes, I support Bernie, but one of the reasons is because I feel like he is the only one who would hold his own against Trump. He asked Trump to debate him before. Trump agreed, and he backed out. So it's so amazing to me. Did you see that thing where she was given a speech? And by the way, this was her event. This was a Liz Warren event. So it was her people there. And it was security for her. And it was a bunch of people all around her holding up signs with her freaking name on them. And then somebody yelled something out. And she just stood there like a deer in headlights. And Ayanna Pressley had to bail her out. Did you see that? Yeah. I'm sorry. Like how is that person going to beat Donald Trump? Spoiler alert, they're not. I think I mean, I have a lot of issues with her, but one of the things that I found particularly egregious was when she met, and it's a Now This video, it's like a compilation. She met with African Americans who were formerly incarcerated, and they were sitting around the table, and they specifically asked her, what can you do for us? We think you're a good candidate, but why should we in particularly vote for you? And she proceeded to tell them how a few years ago she fought for Affordable Care Act. I'm not sure how that's relevant to African American people.
I didn't see
lives
this.
Have been unfairly destroyed, and it was like it wasn't even digressing. It was just so random.
Even more random than all of her folksy stories that she throws out there. Like, let me tell you about my grandfather.
Aunt B would not approve.
Wow, that's I didn't see this, but But
It's
that's
pretty
interesting.
bad.
I'll take your word for it. It sounds like it. But yeah, this endorsement, everyone's just talking about this endorsement, and it is every single endorsement. I mean, the New York Times endorsement, which I went through and I read it on this show. I'm not going to do that again because that'd be torture for you and everybody involved, including myself. But it's basically just like, let's repeat 2016. We have learned nothing since 2016. That's if you want a summary of the New York Times endorsement, that's it. We've learned nothing since 2016. We're ready to repeat it. This endorsement is even more ridiculous. Oh, everyone gets a participation trophy. Everyone's so great.
Only if you're a woman. That's it.
Well, they didn't specify here. I mean, in their little endorsement, they just said everybody.
I meant NYT.
Oh, NYT. Oh,
We're
yeah,
just gonna
right.
take the 2 women. Even
Right.
though one's at like 4%. We're just gonna take the 2 women.
They are giving CPR to Amy Klobuchar's campaign. Amy, they are throwing a stapler down on the beating heart that is her campaign to try to keep it going. That's what they're doing. but yeah, this is wow, this is epic. I mean, it's like they don't even understand. Like this article, it's like they don't understand the point of a primary. They're just like, everyone's so great. That's not what a primary is for. In a primary, you kind of duke it out. You talk about issues and you see what appeals to the base. So that way the candidate that comes forth is the strongest candidate that has the support of the base. That's what a primary is supposed to be. We know that's not what happens in our primaries, but that's what it's supposed to be. And Des Moines Register, wow, that was epically ridiculous. Her ideas aren't radical, you guys. They're not radical. They're right. They're just right. They don't even really go into specifics, and then they just say how great everyone is because they value truth. They like good things, not bad things. But Politico, so check this out.
The article didn't talk about her selfies, I don't think, which is a huge selling point. She
Joy,
posts
you're
about
right.
it quite a bit.
You're right. They didn't mention her selfies, which, by the way, aren't actually selfies. It's just someone taking a picture with a phone. She really does. She comes off as like, she's like that really uncool aunt who you feel bad for, who like they just discovered what selfies were. Like, it's like, go say hi to your Aunt Liz. And it's like, dude, Aunt Liz never has anything interesting to say. How can you be this boring of a person? And then Aunt Liz is like, do you want to take a selfie? I just figured that. And you're like, sure, Aunt Liz. You put your arm around her, and then you just like, and then someone else takes it. She's like, oh, give it to so-and-so. And then you want to tell her that's not actually a selfie, Aunt Liz, but you're like, I don't want to, I'll have to talk to her longer if I do that. Shit. At my grandmother passed away about a year ago at the amazing age of 101 years old. And when she turned, rest in power. But when she turned 100, we had a big party, like you do for somebody that turns 100. And we took our first selfie. I was like, Grandma, you're going to, and it was an actual selfie. Like I was holding it and I took the photo. But I was like, Grandma, we're taking your first selfie. And she got a kick out of it. She laughed. She got but she was less intrigued than Liz Warren. Like she was more hip than Liz. My 100-year-old grandma was like, oh yeah, that's cool. That's a thing that kids can do now. She didn't pretend like she was like part of a trend now. She wasn't just like, well, everyone's got to do a selfie with me. I'm a hundo. She didn't do that. She was just like, cool, good for my grandson.
Yeah, next Liz is going to be like, this is totally lit, fam.
Word up, kids. She's gonna bring back that Sunny Delight commercial from like 1998.
Drop it like it's hot, fam.
I'm just gonna show you the jeans, fam. Oh, Liz Warren. Her endorsements are as milquetoast as she is. Beautiful. But all right, so check this out. So this was sent to me. First of all, the first story was sent to me by, hold on, I got my list here. Edwin sent that in. So thank you, Edwin, for that. And this is from Jack. Jack wanted to share this, and this is from Politico. So check this out. They let him get away with murder. Dems are tormented over how to stop Bernie. With Bernie Sanders gaining steam a week before the Iowa caucuses, tormented Democrats are second-guessing what they say was a hands-off strategy against the Vermont senator in the 2020 primary. Guys, we got this candidate who's actually going to help people. We got to keep an eye on this. His policies would actually help people, and they're connecting with it. This is bad. We can't have that. We got to have a plan. They fear a repeat of 2016 in the making, when mainstream Republicans scoffed at the idea that Donald Trump could ever win the nomination until he became unstoppable, only this time from the left. Somebody tweeted, when I tweeted this article out, somebody responded and they were like, Democrats are really scared that what happened in 2016 could happen to them where they win. They're really afraid. Shit, we might win. We might win at the behest of our donors might not like this victory. This isn't a donor-approved victory. All right, so this is, they're quoting this Matt Bennett, who is the co-founder of Third Way. What is Third Way? So first they said Democrats are for the working class. Then they said Democrats are kind of for the working class. And then another group came along and said, wait a second, there's a third way where Democrats aren't for the working class at all. We want to go that route. And that's what Third Way is. They are just Republicans under a different brand. But anyway, here's what they have to say. They're just like, oh, we're really, holy crap. Bernie Sanders might win. Many Democrats say they respect the support behind Sanders, but fear a self-described democratic socialist would cede must-win battlegrounds to Trump. Because you know that Bernie Sanders did really poorly in those swing states that Hillary Clinton lost, right? They hated Bernie in Michigan, right, Joy? Didn't they hate him? Wisconsin, they weren't fans. Bernie did terrible there. Bernie does not go on Fox News and get standing ovations when he talks about Medicare for all. By the way, Fox News, the network Liz Warren thinks it's beneath her to go on.
Yes.
Even though, and believe me, I know how despicable Fox News is. By the way, MSNBC, CNN, despicable too. They all do the same stuff. Our corporate media, they're all guilty of the same things. But Liz Warren thinks somehow it's beneath her to go on one of the major news networks, which, hey, our media structure is repulsive, but whether we like it or not, it's the one we got. So you got to go on it. You got to suck it up and you got to go on it and you got to try to win people over. If you can't do that, which she can't, she's proven time and time again she can't, you ain't going to beat Donald Trump. You know who can do it and has and continues to? Bernie Sanders. Swing states, according to this article, have a higher concentration of swing voters. We need a nominee who draws them to the Democratic column. That's what Rahm Emanuel says. And in this case, Rahm Emanuel's right. So here's what you need to beat Donald Trump. You need unlikely voters. You need a couple converts. And you need people who weren't going to vote otherwise. And you need some converts. You need some moderates. You need some Republicans. And it's so interesting that they acknowledge this in this article and they try to use that against Bernie Sanders. Meanwhile, when there's data out there that points to Bernie Sanders as the right person, they try to spin that and smear him that way. Like there was that study where a bunch of Trump supporters were like, we'd be open to a Bernie Sanders. And they used that against Bernie. They were like, you see, Bernie and Trump are the exact same thing. No, it's that he has crossover appeal because he has a message that appeals to working class people. Trump did the same thing. It was a bunch of lies, but Trump tried it. And some people are like, hey, we tried this guy on his BS because we were so sick of the Washington Beltway. We took a chance on this clown. He ended up being the clown that we thought he was probably going to be. So we're going to take a chance on real populism, and we want Bernie Sanders. So it's interesting that Politico's own logic, or not Politico, but this article where they're quoting Rahm Emanuel and Third Way, their own logic saying this is what it takes to win. Bernie Sanders has all those things, and they're trying to use it against him because in reality, they just don't want him to be the nominee.
Yeah, and the guy you're referring to of Third Way, he had the best tweet ever last night. He said, Jennifer Palmieri, or I forget how you say her last name, but she's not a fan of progressive. And she, it showed Bernie like way ahead, like in Iowa. I mean, our polls are kicking ass. And she goes, wow. And then Matt from Third Way shared it and he goes, please think about this, like that. And it's like,
what?
Now he's at the bargaining stage. Like he is that, first it was smears. Now it's like, please think, please just think. It's
what does
like
that
we
mean?
are thinking. That's why we're with Bernie.
What? How sad is your life if you're just like, there's this guy who wants to give people health care and actually do something about climate change and wants to give people living wages, the horrors. we got to stop this. We got to stop this guy. We got to, even though you look at history, we are due for a sharp left turn or we're screwed. Like that's where we're at as far as history goes. We need a total transformation of the way we go about society. Like that's really what we need at the end of the day. We need to completely transform the way we go about society. This is a guy that's going to push us in that direction. We're not going to get everything in 8 years. That's impossible. But he's going to push us in the right direction and hopefully, get a few policies through that are going to at least halt climate catastrophe, slow it down, and at least is going to get more people health care. Well, presumably everyone health care if Medicare for all gets through. And people are like, man, we gotta stop this. This is dangerous.
It must be a special kind of privilege to say, I mean, that's the real getting away with murder is listening to story after story of people saying, I'm dying. I just lost my son. I just lost my husband because they don't have health care. And also the other kind of murder by proxy, voting for endless wars. So, but yet they're saying that about Bernie. It's quite privileged. It really is. And it's gross.
Well, I think that's what 2016 really did to everybody. It really showed you that, the Democratic establishment, not the base, but the Democratic establishment, they hate people to their left more than anybody. They, it's not that, okay, and for someone like me, like I'm a millennial, I never really felt any type of camaraderie to the Democratic Party. I generally voted Democrat because, that was better than the other option. I kind of felt like, well, my views aren't really represented on the ballot. I'm not really in the status quo political sphere of the United States. I'm to the left of that. But, electorally, this is the clearer glass. And then all of a sudden, the way I describe it in a nutshell, it's like all 2016 really did, and this is a big all, but it confirmed all my greatest fears about the Democratic establishment. That it's like, no, it really is this bad. It really is this bad. And it really is just it's a fixed game. I mean, it's a fixed game. We really only have one party. It's the money party. It's controlled by the donors. It's controlled by the ruling elite. Oh, where did Joy go? Joy, there you are, Joy. You disappeared for a second. Welcome back. The Russians found out we were doing this. What are you going to do?
Oh, man.
What are you going to do?
I was afraid of that damn deep state.
But no, it's like a candidate like Bernie, when he gets through, and Bernie's not perfect. Nobody is. I'm not trying to be like, oh, man, Bernie's going to walk on water and save us all. It's not going to work that way. And even if Bernie wins, which I hope he does, he's only going to be as effective as the movement behind him. So,
Absolutely.
the way I say it, I'm like, look, if Bernie wins, I'm going to be pretty freaking happy. And I say for one day, we all celebrate. We've earned it. Boy, did we earn it if Bernie wins. Let's celebrate for a night. But then it begins. Like it begins. Like, it's not like let's go to brunch. Bernie won. No, dude, it's begun. Because Bernie is going to be fighting against the Congress. He's going to be fighting against the media. All the things he's fighting against now, he'll still be fighting against those when he's in the White House. And so it's up to him. He's going to have to govern like an FDR, where he points to the people and he's like, this is what I want to do. This is what's holding us back. What do you guys have to say about it? And we need to be in the streets saying that,
Absolutely.
we're behind you. Otherwise it's not going to be an effective presidency. That's just the way it is,
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important that people also keep in mind, it's not just the presidency in 2020. That is in the front of our mind. It is. But at the same time, getting people elected across the country to actually bring his policies to fruition is going to be imperative. Mm-hmm. I've interviewed over 150 Bernie crack candidates from across the country since 2018. That's been, the goal of my show primarily is to get these candidates exposure and to get them out there. And we have to keep that in mind as well. There are some really great candidates running, and we will need them, even regardless if Bernie wins. We're going to need them to stand up for progressives and at least be the voice that votes no on certain things.
Right. Or yes on certain things. Because there's a lot of people who will. I mean, there's a lot of Democrats who will vote no on Medicare for all. Like when it comes up, there's a lot of, and I think also going on that, like a lot of things are going to have to happen outside of electoral politics. I mean, we talk about electoral politics because it's kind of what's in the sphere so much, but so much is going to have to happen completely outside of electoral politics via community action, via coalitions, and then even like local political action. I mean, I wish, and I agree. I see great people all the time who are running for Congress and running for Senate and stuff like that. And that's great. And I hope they all win. But I wish more people trying to do something in the city council would reach out to me. You know what I mean? Like I wish more people were, and maybe there's more, and I just don't know about it. I mean, I don't have my thumb on the pulse of every single district in every single country, or every single country, every single state, every single, like it's impossible. But I wish there was more of that. Like I wish we had more like just kind of progressive coalitions, like what Gail McLaughlin did in Richmond, California.
Absolutely, and I think that's a good progression. Start at city council, then go to Senate, then go to Congress. Then I mean, when you take someone like and
you got to say it like Count Chocula. His 5 supporters, they get really mad when you like mispronounce his name, and it's like, well, I'm not mispronouncing his name. I'm just saying it like Count Chocula. Buttigieg is how you pronounce his name, and I'm just saying Buttigieg. It's like an intro, and a bunch of bats fly around, and then he forms, and then what he strikes me as a dude who should just always have a lunchbox with him. There's just something about him, like if they had an action figure, like his accessory would totally just be a lunchbox. He would just have it, and he'd be like, like he just has that personality.
Amazing,
right?
But he would have himself.
It would have himself, yeah, right. A picture of himself on the lunchbox. He'd open it up. He'd be like, "What did the CIA pack me today?" Like platitude sandwich. Like that's what he would do. That's what I picture that guy. So, Joy, let's. I got one more story here, and this one was shared by. That last story was shared by Jack, by the way, and this one is shared by Free Assange over on the Twitter, and this is interesting. This is kind of getting away from electoral politics for a little bit and kind of going into what's happening around us. And this gets into wages. So this is from popularresistance.org. Low wage work is more pervasive than you think, and there aren't enough, quote, good jobs to go around. Even as the U.S. economy hums along at a favorable pace. Now, by the way, this is according to Wall Street, by the way. This is when we measure the economy, we look at Wall Street, we look at the stock market, which is absolute BS. That's a completely nonsensical way to look at the economy. The way we measure unemployment is faulty, and that's being generous. It is such a flawed, skewed statistic. It's barely worth even looking at. We don't factor in underemployed people, which are most Americans at this point. We don't factor in the disgruntled. It's a very flawed statistic. So whenever you see the corporate media or the Wall Street Journal saying how good the economy is doing, take that with a huge grain of salt. And also go a step further and realize, what are they trying to keep from us? What are they trying to distract us from by saying the economy is great? Because guess what? The economy isn't great. It hasn't been great for a long time. And we live in the United States of amnesia, where if people don't like the president, they'll look at the unemployment number and be like, that's great. Meanwhile, it's like, no, the unemployment number is skewed. This is all skewed. Look at what's actually going around you, and that's how we can measure the economy. But anyway, all right, so there's a vast segment of workers today earning wages low enough to leave their livelihood and families extremely vulnerable. So here's some interesting statistics. This new analysis found 53 million Americans between the ages of 18 to 64, accounting for 44% of all workers, qualifies low wage. Their median hourly wages are $10.22. The median annual earnings are about $18,000. So 44% of all workers are making about, in the middle, about $18,000 a year. Oh, and by the way, you know what else? You know what else is interesting about the number 44%? 44% of homeless people have jobs. They're working, and they still can't afford a place to live. So 44% of all workers are low wage. That's about half. 44% of homeless people, again about half, have jobs. The existence of low-wage work is hardly a surprise, but most people, except perhaps low-wage workers themselves, underestimate how prevalent it is. Many also misunderstand who these workers are. They're not only students, people at the beginning of their careers, or people who need extra spending money. Yeah, why should we pay living wages? The people who work minimum wage jobs, they're just high school kids trying to make a couple extra dollars. No, that's statistically completely untrue. That's completely not true at all. That's not true at all. All right. So a majority are adults in their prime working years, and low wage work is the primary way they support themselves and their families. Imagine trying to support a family on $18,000 a year. You know,
I couldn't even support myself on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I think one thing I really, really, really want Bernie to start touching on more is his in the Green New Deal, the federal job guarantee. Number one, because it would save so many lives, but also because there's so many misconceptions about it. People think it means like you're handcuffed to this job and it's going to be like this hellish thing and you won't be able to get out, when in actuality it just means that if you want a job, you are guaranteed one.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like you and I, federal job guarantee doing our shows, like we could make, an actual living, guaranteed income doing what we love to do. People who stay home and take care of their sick parents, federal job guarantee. Artists who do art for a living, federal job guarantee. There's so much misconception and misinformation. And this plan alone, like think about all the incarcerated folks who get out and can't get a job because they have to check that box or things like that. Federal job guarantee. You're discriminated against, LGBTQ, African Americans, people of color. Now you have a federal job guarantee. Yeah. It would help millions of people. So I really want Bernie to start touching on that more. Also, it would be a minimum of $15 an hour. That doesn't mean it would be the cap, but it would be a minimum.
Right.
So you have people who are working two $8 an hour jobs. Now they don't have to. They can spend time with their kids. They, full-time mom would be a job under the federal jobs guarantee. Like, this is how amazing it would be. It would be, you would be able to have a living wage, do as you like, not risk, not, having nervous breakdowns if you feared losing your job, because you know that around the corner, something else would be available for you.
But Joy, how are we going to pay for this?
It's so utopian. Well, folks, there's this thing called MMT. But we have the money. We have the resources. It's just, fear mongering is the way that you convince people that things like this aren't plausible. I mean, they don't want people to think, oh, this can happen. It's easier to just convince people we have no power and things like that are, quote, ponies, than actually caring enough to give us the power to say we can do this.
Well, here's the thing. We already have a federal jobs guarantee. It's just called the military. And It sends people off to fight in wars we shouldn't be in and to protect oil. I mean, Donald Trump just openly said that. That's why the military-industrial complex doesn't like Donald Trump, because he says things that they don't want him to say. Not because he cares about ending the wars, but because he doesn't know any better. So he says stuff. It's like, no, you're not supposed to. You're supposed to dress that up a little bit. You're supposed to be likable and flowery. See George W. Bush. See Reagan. See Barack Obama. See those guys. Clinton. They all did it right. You're not doing it right.
And that's one of the reasons I think the government fears free college tuition, because why do people go in the military? Free college. Yeah. I mean, for a couple decades, that's been the number one reason people went in the military. Free college and job guarantee when they get out or during.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
you
so many
take those
people.
two things away, who's going to want to join the military?
Mhm. Yeah, I
Only
mean,
real people who are like, protect the USA. Like, and there's not as many of those.
well, or we can, if we end the wars, we could totally have. I mean, joining the military could also mean something very different.
Yeah.
Instead of meaning you're going to go off to some country we shouldn't be in. Uh-oh, I lost Joy. Well, now I can't talk to anybody. Oh man, I just lost Joy. Hopefully Joy comes back soon because we were going to end the show by interviewing her. And if I can't interview her, well, that's going to be a weird ending of the show now, isn't it? What I was about to say, was that there, she's back. Joy, you're back.
Sure,
Hey, Joy.
happened?
Welcome back.
Damn,
Well, I know
Tuesday.
you're in Iowa. You're campaigning, and yeah, right. Well, I know you said that the Wi-Fi was a little spotty where you're at, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, let's go ahead and let's really dive into what's going on the campaign trail. And yeah, because I know you're in Iowa right now. You're doing the work, and I really respect that. Before we jump into that, let's see what people are saying. Because actually, I have a contributor who comes in every Monday, and I told him, I was like, well, I have a special guest. Is it cool if we cancel your segment? And he's a little bit of a diva. So he's going to interview you. I hope you don't mind. He said you're going to be real excited about this. So he's going to, and the cool thing about this guy, he's not, he's my only like non-political contributor. Like he's not really paying much attention to politics all that much. So you can kind of really talk to him about what's going on and, why he should support Bernie or what he thinks. But first of all, let's go through some of what's going on here. Rainbow Wins, thank you very much for the Super Chat contribution. Thanks for the new version of Love Me, I'm a Liberal. Rock on, Ron. Thank you very much, Rainbow Wins. I appreciate that very, very much. And guys, if you didn't check it out, my music video for Love Me, I'm a Liberal dropped this morning. I'm really excited about it. Shout out to Arno Babulian for filming that and recording it. Shout out to Johnny Tsunami for doing all the editing on that. Shout out to my editor, Joseph Sakata, for his guidance on the project as well and his input. And shout out to Jimmy Dorr, Steph, and Graham for singing backing vocals. Please check that out. I'm really excited about it. It just dropped this morning, and I appreciate that so much. Robert Gilbert, great show again. Thank you very much for the Super Chat contribution, Robert. Poopy Cakes. Love your show, Ron. Thank you very much, Poopy Cakes. Inks Pixels, what's up? A federal jobs guarantee as an artist would be amazing. Think of all the Lucy and Ron cartoons I can make. Inks Pixels is the illustrator for Lucy and Ron. Check that out at lucyandron.com. This Saturday was a fun one. Where is she? I think she's on the bed.
She usually gives me the butt when I come on.
She does. She usually gives everybody the butt. She usually, she really, I think she kind of likes, I think she knows when it's TV too. Like I did crosstalk the other day and she would not leave like the desk. She was just right there. It was like she knew. She's like, I want to get another TV credit. I gotta pump up my IMDb page. Kathy Lloyd, thank you very much for the pair. I love the pair. I love the pair emojis. And Melissa, got my ticket for the Burlington show today. That's awesome, Melissa. Thank you so much for that. So thank you to, let's see, let me thank everyone. Then we'll get Joy interviewed up here. Edwin, Free Assange, and Jack, thank you for the articles. Thank you for the Super Chat contribution, Kathy, Melissa, Inks Pixels, Poopy Cakes, Robert, Rainbow. And guys, they mentioned a couple things. First of all, tour dates. I got them. Please, please, please grab your tickets now. Don't wait. We're going to be in Tucson on February 8th. That's Grandma and myself. Tucson, February 8th. For the Progressive Comedy Tour. There might be some songs going on. There might be some game shows going on. There might be some special guests at the Tucson show. I'll just leave it at that. But Tucson, February 8th. February 29th, San Francisco. There's definitely going to be some special guests there. Shahid Buttar is going to be there. That's February 29th in San Francisco. March 12th, Orlando. March 13th, Tampa. March 14th, Miami. April 9th, I'll be at Concord University. Want to get me to your university? Email me, ronplacone.com. April 10th, I'll be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. April 24th, Seattle, Washington. April 25th, Portland, Oregon. Getting into May 14th, Indianapolis, Indiana, May 15th, Detroit, Michigan, May 16th, Cleveland, Ohio. June 19th, Louisville, Kentucky, June 20th, Nashville, Tennessee, June 21st, Atlanta. Hold tight. Tickets should be available real soon, but we will be in Atlanta on June 21st. As soon as tickets are available, we will announce that. July 11th, Chicago, Illinois. July 12th, right before the convention, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Kick off your convention the right way. August 13th, Richmond, Virginia. August 14th, Washington, D.C. August 15th, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. September 10th, New York City. September 11th, Boston, Mass. September 12th, Portland, Maine. September 13th, Burlington, Vermont, baby. And October 16th, Madison, Wisconsin. October 17th, Minneapolis, Minnesota. We are touring in 2020. We can't wait to see you. Get all those tickets at ronplagone.com. If you want to support this show on the sustainability end, please do consider becoming a patron. Patreon.com/ronplagone. For give what you can level. You get all kinds of exclusive content, and you help me expand this ship. You help me grow this show. We're trying to do mini documentaries about city-owned internet. And we're going to do a Sounds of Revolution series where I'm going to interview musicians about what their thoughts are for 2020. Need your help to get there. Patreon.com/ronplagone. Even $1 a month goes a long way. Joy, I got to sign out, but hold tight because my contributor is going to be here. He won't even tell you who he is. He's like she's going to be blown away. I apologize in advance if he's all over the place, but anyway, he's going to do a great job. You're going to love it. And in the meantime, you guys know what I say. Lucy says meow. I say peace. Peace.
Oh, I'm honored. And in the meantime, if you guys check out Real Progress in Action, the organization I do my shows on, I've had Ron on, probably, I don't know, 10 times, and Graham Elwood several times. And I did a live show in Philly with both of them together.
Hey,
oh my,
hey,
I'm so honored.
I know. Don't be too starstruck. I know you're probably stoked. I'll sign an autograph. It's Jane, right?
It's Joy, but I'm amazed that Ron gave you the shirt off his back.
Yeah, he Monday's my day, right? It's Music Monday. I'm New Wave Vader. I got my band. Like this is my day. We can't falter on my day. But no, I'm stoked to talk to you. So I see Savage Joy. What's Savage about you? That'd be a cool punk band.
My viewers gave me that name. I was like, Joy is just not, my name just doesn't fit. And the more they watched my interviews, the more they said, wow, she really doesn't give a fuck. She'll say whatever's on her mind.
That's totally gnarly. You know what you need? You need to start a band. You need to call it Savage Joy, and your first album should be called I Don't Give a Fuck. I would.
That is punk rock as hell.
I would buy that album. I would totally buy. And honestly, you could probably tour with us. I'm one half of the duo Galaxy Glam. It's me and Iggy Pop. He plays the washboard. I shred on guitar. And we got an amazing thing. I can't wait. We're going to be touring soon. Go to GalaxyGlamNewWaveVader.com. I think that's our website. I'll find it out. I'm not good with the tech stuff. So what's the guy, Ron or whatever his name is? He briefed me a little bit on what you're doing. You're in Iowa for Bernie Sanders. I know that's the guy running for president or whatever. And I'm the one. Look, Joy, I don't really follow politics that much. Like I just want to rock and roll. Like I just want to shred. I just want to tear it up. All the contributors on this show, they're always yelling at each other. Like there's this guy, he's like this Russian dude, and he always is pranking this Adam guy. He puts stuff in his coffee. And like nobody gets along. They're all, and I'm just like, dude, I'm the Music Monday guy, right? Like that's what I do. So I guess like, why should I go for this Bernie? I think I'm gonna vote. Like it's 2020. It's a new me. So why should Bernie be my candidate?
Well, there's so many reasons, but I live in Pennsylvania. And I recently got laid off for my job.
You recently got laid? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, girl.
Yes.
Get some.
That's what the revolution's about.
Right?
First and foremost.
Totally.
Um,
I kind of missed the hippie wave. That was a little bit before my time. I was the 77 era, but yeah, I mean, we definitely knew how to throw down, oh man, so much. I got laid so much back in the day. I don't want to brag, but it's like, dude, when you put out Return of the Jedi, what are you gonna do? I don't want to say anymore. I know. I don't want to, whatever. But yeah, I did fine. I still do. Me and Iggy, we still party hard. So anyway, you're getting laid in Pennsylvania, and what else is going on there?
So my viewers donated to a GoFundMe to get me to take advantage of the opportunity and come out to Iowa, since it's the most important state, arguably. So I'm here for 5 weeks through the caucus. That's how passionate I am about Bernie and our movement. So I just moved across the country to a state I've never been to. And it's been quite an experience. I've met some beautiful people, and I've met some people whose lives essentially depend on Bernie winning.
Whoa. So, all right. So that's crazy. Like you left Pennsylvania where you were getting laid all the time, and you're going to Iowa where you're like, maybe I'll get laid here. I don't even know what's going on here. And like Iowa, dude, the last time I toured Iowa was like maybe like 81. And I just remember cornfields, but like you're there because I know that's where the election starts or whatever. And so, man, you're saying that people are really dependent on this Bernie guy. Well, why is that? What's he going to do for people?
Well, one of people's biggest passions I'm finding is Medicare for all, which
So that's like where everyone gets health care.
Exactly. You're guaranteed health care. You would have a $200 max on prescriptions each year. You would have no deductibles, no copays, no premiums. And people would, stop dying because they could afford going to the doctor when they're sick. They could afford their cancer treatments. And they would stop filing medical bankruptcies, 50,000 people every year.
That's incredible. Joy, look, you've sold me. Look, when these are mechanical hands, by the way. When you shred so freaking hard, which maybe you heard about this, it was a big deal when it happened. When you shred so freaking hard, you lose your hand, which is what happened to me. I shredded so hard, made Luke look like a hack, because he is. So is Palpatine. They're both a bunch of posers. I'm sorry, I'm a little fiery today. You know why? Because Galaxy Glam's going to take over the freaking planet. But I'm a little fiery today. And you know what? I really could have used good health care when my hand went away. You know how much it costs to get a robot hand when you lose your hand from shredding? You know how much that costs, Joy?
A lot, but I'm sure you're thankful for all the platinum records.
Actually, I was hoping you knew because I don't remember. My management took care of it, but I know it was a lot of money, and it was not cool. And now, had we had something like universal health care, dude, some of my buddies, like I remember Robert Smith from The Curie calling me up, and he's like, dude, if you lived in England, you wouldn't have had to pay a dime for that. They just would have fixed your hand up. Like even Mar called me up. Johnny, we're pretty tight. He can't shred like I can, but Johnny's a cool guy. But he was like, dude, if you can just be my roommate, and this would be taken care of if you lived over here. So I'm totally with you. I don't know why the U.S. Doesn't have the type of healthcare system other countries just take for granted. Like it makes no sense. So I'm that's cool that Bernie dude is all about that. I also heard that a venue I used to play in Burlington, I looked up a little bit about him when I found out that I was interviewing you. I guess like a venue that I used to play in Burlington, Vermont back in the day, he actually helped that happen.
He did. It was like his wife Jane was actually the first person who kind of owned it and booked the bands. But yeah, it was almost like a Burlington Stevie Jeebies. They're making a documentary on it.
Dude, it was
incredible.
It was so sad when CB sold out. But anyway, keep going. So they're making a documentary.
Yeah, so it's gonna be pretty amazing.
Well,
Bernie is punk rock in
do
a
you
lot of
know?
ways.
I mean, who's gonna be in? I mean, I played that venue definitely twice. I can think of 2 times that we went through there. The one time, oh man, I'll never forget the one time I got the weirdest fan request. They were just like New Wave Vader, and I was like, "What's up?" And I actually wasn't even going by New Wave at the time, but they were like, they were in the pit, and it was actually a dude. It wasn't a lady. It was a dude. And he was just like, New Wave Vader, this is going to be weird. And he hands me this empty bottle. I wasn't sure what's going to happen. I thought maybe it was like a not fan who wanted to, like, because things got kind of violent sometimes in the day. But yeah, anyway, he wanted me to pee in a bottle and give it to him, which, I mean, I did it. I mean, dude, like, do you, if that's what you want. Like, I do rock and roll for the fans and the people, Joy. And, so anyway, I'm available to tell that story if they want me to be in the documentary. I'd be honored to do it as long as they're cool with using Galaxy Glam for the soundtrack exclusively. So if you want to make a phone call, make that happen, that'd be cool. I can put my people with your people.
They may have some archival footage as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah, totally. Man, I don't know if there were cameras there. And I mean, this was back in the day. We used like those handheld cameras. They were all big, and then you would try to get it on VHS. Man, dude, kids today have it so easy. Now it's like you can record a song on your phone and then you put it on the internet, and then but hey, it is what it is. This is also, shows like this didn't really exist back then. But so Bernie,
and they don't now. This is totally original.
Oh, thanks. That's really, I'll let the guys know.
No, I was talking about me.
Oh, yeah. Oh man. Maybe you are a little savage. That's I feel you though.
I'm honest.
I'm telling you, you got to start that band, man. Galaxy Glam with Savage Joy and the I Don't Give a Fuck EP.
Well, I've always had a fantasy that if I started a girl band, it would be what's it called? The Seam Rippers and the Screaming Seams and the Bodice Rippers.
Oh, that's a little long. I mean, that like wouldn't fit on a flyer. I think you should go with Savage Joy. I Don't Give a Fuck, but that's just me.
I mean, I already got the shirt. Wait.
Oh yeah, Eat the Rich, man. I remember that used to be a sentiment back in the day, and then Aerosmith ran with it years later. That's a whole different story. So Bernie Sanders wants to give everyone health care, and he's all about punk rock venues. I think I'm sold. I mean, yeah, totally. I mean, none of the other candidates did anything remotely as cool as that, to my knowledge. Is there anything else I'm missing out on?
I mean, he's definitely the strongest to go against Trump. He's beating him by over 10 points, and everyone's either equal to him or below. I'm finding that a lot of people in Iowa are just making horrible wages, and he proposes at least a minimum of $15 an hour, regardless of work. And he's also has a lot of union endorsements and promises to expand union memberships across the country.
Say no more, Joy. I'm totally a Billy Bragg disciple. I am with you.
Yes.
So, I'm on board. So what can people do in Iowa right now? How can people get involved? Because you've sold me. I think I'm going to vote for Bernie Sanders.
Nice. Well, the first thing would be get educated on the caucus process. As someone from Pennsylvania, I can tell you it was complicated, but also so many people in Iowa don't understand it. And that could be our downfall. So first, just a quick rundown. You have to get 15% to be viable. You walk into a room, doors close 7:00 sharp. You are locked in there. You cannot leave. You cannot enter. It's kind of weird. And they count each person physically in the section of your candidate. If you don't have at least 15% of the vote, they will do a second round where the candidate, I know.
This sounds like all of my orgies in 77. You're saying this is a political process?
It is. It is.
Nuts. Wow. Okay. That's
So
crazy.
if you're not viable and you don't reach the 15%, the representative, well, I should say rep, I will be one. It would, I'm called a whip.
Whoa.
So yeah.
Damn, girl. Get some.
So my job is going to be to go to the candidates who I think to go to their sections and try to convince them to come to us. Like maybe Yang, Tulsi. We're second choice for Steyer as well. So
That's the dude who's like, he's a billionaire and he wears that like
yes.
Scottish tie thing and he's like, look at all my money. That dude.
But he has the biggest man crush on Bernie.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, I
Cool.
mean,
I got to
it's
read up
actually
on it.
adorable.
Oh, right on. Well, yeah, I'll have to look into that. But well, that's cool. So Iowa, make sure you know like the caucus process. You might walk. I mean, if you're anything like me, you might walk into there and think you're gonna throw down for an orgy, but it's not. It's like how you vote. So make sure you're like, oh wait, not an orgy. I'm voting. The orgy's next week. Maybe. I don't know what people in Iowa are into. But anyway, make sure you do that right. Joy is doing the work. She's in Iowa right now. She left Pennsylvania where she was getting laid constantly. And she's like, I'm going to go to Iowa and not get laid. Why? For a revolution. I respect that, Joy. You get that band started and you tell people where they can find you.
Nice. Well, also, we have 7 days till caucus. It is 1 week from today. We need phone bankers. We need texters. We knocked over 100,000 doors in the past 36 hours. We are boots on the ground, hardcore. We have over 1 million volunteers across the country. But the most important thing is getting people out to caucus. We can have 1 million people say, yes, we want Bernie, but until they get their asses in those seats, it doesn't mean anything. Iowa starts off the entire election. If we win Iowa, we'll win New Hampshire, we'll win Vegas. I mean, it will be all the undecideds will say, well, you know what? Bernie won this. He's a safer bet. Let's go with him. It will and make or break us in a lot of ways. So we need your help these last 7 days so much. Also, I do want to say I do not work for or represent the campaign. I am a volunteer.
You're an outsider.
So anything about orgies or anything, that's just our humor.
Dude, I am an outsider. I serve no masters and I never will. I am New Wave Vader. Well, Joy, thank you for doing that work. Thank you for volunteering your time. So guys, check that out. Make sure you know what's going on in the Iowa caucus. And guys, keep your ears open for Galaxy Glam with opening act Savage Joy. I don't give a fuck. Summoning to a city near you. You know the drill. The black cat like meows a bunch, and then that Ron guy tells people peace. All right, later. See you tomorrow. Later, says Vader.